Picture this, it's nearly 1 o'clock in the morning at the Lindner Family Tennis Center in Mason, Ohio, but nobody wearing the colors of the Philippines is thinking about going home. Philippine flags are still waving through the stands, fans are still chanting for Eala. And on the court, one of the toughest battles of her young career has just come to a painful end. Eala had taken the opening set from world number 10 Amanda Anisimova. She had survived a ridiculous 20-minute service game featuring 13 deuces. She had even jumped out to a 2-0 lead in the deciding set. For a moment, another massive upset looked like it was right there for the taking. Then everything flipped. Anisimova caught fire, reeled off 6 straight games and completed the comeback, 4-6, 6-4, 6-2. After 2 hours and 28 minutes of high-pressure tennis, Eala's Cincinnati run was over. This one hurt. But if you think this loss means Eala's momentum is gone, think again, because Cincinnati may have closed one chapter, but New York is about to open an even bigger one. Eala didn't arrive in Cincinnati as some unknown underdog hoping to get lucky. She came in with serious momentum and a growing reputation as one of the most dangerous young players on tour. Earlier in August, she captured her first WTA Tour-level singles title in Washington, D.C., defeating American star Jessica Pegula in the championship match and becoming the first Filipina to win a WTA Tour singles title. Before that came her breakthrough Wimbledon run, where she reached the 4th round and stunned defending champion Iga Swiatek on center court. Suddenly, Eala wasn't just the player everybody loved watching, she was becoming the player nobody wanted to see across the net. Against Anisimova, that confidence showed immediately. The opening set was an absolute grind. After the first 4 games were split to make it 2-2, the 5th game turned into one of those games tennis fans remember long after the match is over. 20 minutes, 13 deuces, neither player willing to blink. Eala kept hanging around, kept defending and kept making Anisimova hit one more ball. Eventually, 2 errors from the American handed Eala the break and a 3-2 lead. The Filipino crowd exploded. The official Cincinnati Open account even highlighted the incredible length of the game. Eala had survived the storm, and instead of simply hanging on, she pushed harder. She broke again later in the set and closed it out 6-4. Then she carried that momentum into the second set. Eala moved ahead and had the crowd believing another top 10 victory was coming. But this is where Anisimova showed exactly why she has competed on some of tennis's biggest stages. She began changing the patterns of the rallies, moving Eala around the baseline instead of letting her settle into comfortable defensive positions. She attacked Eala's backhand corner more aggressively, looked to create openings for her own powerful backhand and stepped into second serve returns with more confidence. Slowly, the match started tilting in the Americans' direction. Anisimova took 4 of the next 5 games and grabbed the second set 6-4. Suddenly, everything came down to one set. And Eala's response? She came out swinging. 2 aggressive backhand winners helped her get ahead 2-0 in the third. Fans were on their feet. The energy in the stadium was wild. But Anisimova's serve and power began taking control. Once she found her rhythm, she didn't give Eala much room to breathe. 6 straight games went Anisimova's way. Eala was broken in her final 3 service games, and just like that, a 2-0 advantage became a 6-2 deciding set defeat. For Eala, the toughest part wasn't simply losing. It was knowing how close she had been. She had already proven she could beat elite players. She had already produced huge wins on major stages. And against Anisimova, she again showed that her best tennis belongs at that level. But this match also exposed something every young player eventually has to learn. Getting ahead against the world's best and finishing them off are 2 completely different challenges. A post-match analysis circulated under Maria Sharapova's name focusing on experience, handling pressure, and executing on the biggest points. That specific attribution has not been clearly confirmed by reliable reporting, but the tennis lesson itself is hard to ignore. Anisimova had experience navigating high-stakes matches and deciding sets. Eala, despite everything she has already accomplished, is still only 21 and still building that experience. Talent wasn't the issue. The margins were. There's also the physical side. That 20-minute marathon early in the match may have taken more out of Eala than it seemed at the time. Long, punishing rallies and emotionally draining games add up, especially in a match that stretches deep into the night. By the deciding set, Anisimova looked increasingly capable of producing her best tennis while Eala struggled to keep the same intensity. That gives Eala and her team a clear blueprint heading into the US Open. Protect leads better, stay physically strong deep into matches and keep executing when the pressure reaches another level. and Eala already seems to understand that development is about more than wins and losses. Before Cincinnati, she talked about wanting to play matches of substance and judging herself by whether she executed what she wanted to execute and brought the level she expected from herself. That mindset matters. A player obsessed only with the scoreboard can lose perspective. A player focused on improvement can turn painful nights into fuel. There was also encouraging news physically. Eala had rolled her ankle during the Canadian Open and needed treatment, creating concern so close to the final Grand Slam of the season. She later said there was nothing seriously wrong, and in Cincinnati her movement looked sharp again. She chased down balls, defended from difficult positions and showed no obvious sign that the ankle was preventing her from competing at full speed. Now the spotlight moves to New York. The 2026 US Open singles main draw begins August 30th, and Flushing Meadows already holds a special place in Eala's story. In 2025, she became the first player from the Philippines in the Open era to win a Grand Slam singles main draw match. Years earlier, in 2022, she had also won the US Open Girls Singles Championship. New York has already witnessed history from Eala. The question now is how much more history she can create, and singles won't be her only opportunity. Eala and Canadian star Felix Auger-Aliassime have officially received a wild card into the US Open Mixed Doubles Championship. It's one of the most intriguing partnerships in the field, putting two players with connections to the Rafa Nadal Academy on the same side of the net. The mixed doubles competition will take place during Fan Week, with the first two main draw rounds on August 25th and the semifinals and final on August 26th. The field is loaded with star power, including combinations featuring Novak Djokovic and Aryna Sabalenka, Elena Rybakina and Taylor Fritz, and Iga Swiatek and Casper Ruud. For Eala, it's another chance to experience the biggest stadiums, another chance to compete under pressure and another chance to feed off what fans have started calling the Eala effect. And that effect is very real. Wherever Eala goes, Filipino fans seem to follow. Flags fill the stands. Chants break out between points. Matches that might normally feel like neutral site contests suddenly sound like home games. In Toronto, Washington, Cincinnati, and across the tour, Eala's growing fan base has turned her appearances into events. She has admitted that the attention can sometimes feel heavy and sometimes feel fun, but she also understands how extraordinary the experience is. At only 21, she has become more than a promising tennis player. She has become a sporting symbol for millions of Filipinos around the world. Think about how quickly this journey has accelerated. She first picked up a racket at 4 years old. She moved to the Rafa Nadal Academy as a young teenager. In 2022, she won the US Open Junior Singles title. In 2025, she exploded onto the global stage with her remarkable Miami Open semifinal run, defeating Grand Slam champions Yelena Ostapenko, Madison Keys, and Iga Swiatek along the way. Later that year came her historic first Grand Slam main draw victory at the US Open. Then 2026 brought another wave of breakthroughs, deep runs, a stunning Wimbledon victory over Swiatek and finally that first WTA Tour title in Washington. That is why one painful night in Cincinnati doesn't change the bigger picture. Yes, Eala lost a match she had a real chance to win. Yes, she let a third-set lead slip away. And yes, there are areas of her game that still need work. But that is what makes the next chapter so compelling. Great players aren't defined only by the matches they win. They're defined by what they do after the losses that keep them awake at night. Eala walked away from Cincinnati disappointed, but she also walked away knowing she can stand toe-to-toe with another top 10 opponent. Now she heads toward the loudest, brightest, and most unforgiving stage in American tennis with more experience than she had before. Cincinnati was heartbreak. New York could be redemption. Eala's story is nowhere close to finished. In fact, if the last two seasons have taught us anything, the next surprise may be just around the corner. The US Open is coming, the Eala effect is coming with it, and once again, the tennis world will be watching. For more tennis stories, match breakdowns and Eala updates, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications, because this ride is only getting started.